Hi guys, this is Golden. Today we're gonna talk about how I've warmed up and how I practice my aim, and just general things about deathmatch and basically just how you take duels. Uh, I'll try to show it all in this video. We can start and hop onto it immediately. So when you start out warming up, for example, on aimbot, this is where I usually start, and I would recommend doing this. I think Elige does this as well. It's a great uh, uh, advice. Is that when you're first starting out, just for the day, that you don't want to make it difficult for you to kill the bots. You just want to start, off with just some uh, small adjustments and just, casually killing the bots. But you want to do this just to warm up for the beginning. So let's say you do this for maybe 150 kills, and then from there, when you're finished with 150 kills, is that you go into the next stage. So how I like to do this is that I like to that will be like moving around. So I like to move around, but I don't kill the bot in the beginning. So basically, I just hold my crosshair like this on the bot, and I just move, and I just try to keep track and and have the I have my crosshair on the bot, but I'm not shooting, and also I'm adjusting accordingly to my movement. So I get to used to that feeling. Because next I'll do this about like 1 minute or 30 to 1 minute, 30 seconds to 1 minute, and from there I just start now to shoot. You can start off with like tapping like this, and then from there to the next stage of it, you can also do this for maybe like just tapping, one tapping, however you want, but like I do it for 50 kills. So I'm now at 200 kills. My goal is to get to 300, and then I'm done with the aimbots. Um, I'll talk about that just after this next segment. Is that so? When we have finished with the just one tapping, what I usually do is that I go to the next step is to just kill all the bots however I like. So it's basically moving around, ducking or spraying or whatnot. So this is what it usually looks like when I warm up. I'll try to do this as fast as possible because I feel like if I'm accurate, I'll try to do this as fast as possible. If I'm not accurate, then I take it slower. But I have played a little bit today. I haven't played it for a while now, but still there. I tried to just get to 500 kills totally. So 300 kills like this. So I will be at 500 now. And this is uh, why I want to do it fast as well is because I want to get the feeling of how I would play it in a match. I know that I would try to aim very fast. Some players are a bit, they take their time. Um, but for me, I know I would react. I would just like try to react like this in a match. So this is what I'm trying to replicate. So after I'm done and I'm at 500 kills, I feel very satisfied. So I've done this routine for a long time. So where I set just a number for the bots, how many I should, kill before I move on. And for me, it's 500, like minimum 500 before I feel like okay, I can move on to deathmatch now. If I don't do the 500, I feel like something is missing. And also I've done this routine or set the number because I don't want to think that I have not warmed up enough or something is missing when I'm going into a match because that is just extra energy and confusion in your head that you don't want to have. You will just want to be clear-minded, and I don't want to think that I have not done my routine or I've not warmed up enough. So it helps me a lot to know I've reached a minimum, then I can move on from there. Um, and moving on to now will be just uh see, it will be I'll just show some things in CS, like when taking duels, whatnot. So when playing, when like I'm, for example, thinking about uh, strafing and taking the duels when I warm up or practice. This is a great example for me here. Is that let's say you're coming out of top mid and you're gonna aim down mid. So what I don't like to do is to aim like this, and I'm standing still after. Like I counter strafe immediately because I would do this in CS Go, but in CS2, I feel like the advantage is more and better if you just, instead of taking the duel like this, you just uh, go and strafe as hard as possible and fast as possible. And when I say fast as possible, you might be thinking, what do you mean? I'll show you. I'll turn off my camera and I'll put on to show the velocity. So if you look at the velocity right here, it says 0 right now, but the maximum velocity when you have an AK is 215. And when you aim, for example, from here, and you just want to aim like that, you're not reaching maximum velocity if you're gonna do it like this. So the enemy team or someone who's aiming like this will will have a small advantage, or you're not maximizing your advantage when taking the duel. So I would recommend going as fast as possible to reach the maximum velocity and then take the duel. And you don't want to stop too early because he's probably aiming at this point like this. But if you go into maximum velocity and you just now you appear right here and now he has to adjust. But it also gives you time then to, take that duel like maybe at better odds, so to say. So when you like are behind the wall, try to reach maximum velocity before you start to take before you start shooting, basically. And another thing is that when when you come out like this, I said earlier that I don't like to do this. It's not only because of the velocity, it's because also I'm pre-aiming this only this. Um, that's good if I know there is gonna be a guy here. If I know 100% is gonna be a guy here, then I will do that. But most of the time, when let's say a teammate is flashing for me behind me or whatnot, I'm not gonna do this and then go. What I will do if there is a flash coming behind me, for example, I'll just do this. I'll keep my crosshair here. I'll just have it in my path, and I just wide swing. And when I do this, uh, if he is not here, then I can keep continuing being at the maximum velocity. I'm still using the advantage of the flash. So I'm going with the flash, basically. I'm holding just one key and going. And this way, if as soon as I see someone, let's say in connector, and I'm coming out like this, my teammate flashed for me. Oh, there's one guy in connector. Now I just stop and just aim. I find that very useful, at least for me, that I don't, first go around like this, do this, do this, do this. Um, I like it now that in CS2, a lot of you will see a lot of pros just running around, but they're doing it for a reason. Um, this is one of the reasons, at least. Um, and before we jump into the deathmatch part, I'll also talk about some situations that will happen in like when you're deathmatching. So let's say, for example, when you are playing deathmatch and you are around this area, and how you can apply what I just spoke about. Instead of aiming like this, what you want to do is that I'll just show it in how it look. It would just be like this. Just have your crosshair moving around in the center of where the action could be. Most of the time in a match, you will know where they will be, so you don't have to look around that much. But when you're also moving, you're making yourself a much harder target to kill and to aim at. So when you are the one who's moving, you're the one in advantage. If someone is, for example, in the open here, it's always so much easier for this guy to just, wide swing and kill him. How many times haven't not this happened, right? It just, uh, one, you don't have any protection, but also this guy is coming out of nowhere behind the wall and just shooting you. So let's say you are this person then, because you will be in this position a lot of times. Instead of, just being quiet about it all the time, you should try to um, move in a way where uh, you are kind of so let's say you're on a match and you are gonna be in this area on Mirage, for example. You know you have a lot of space ahead of you. Instead of just going there without any plan what's to come next, because if you're here, what's your plan? Like what you're gonna do next? And I would say just try to get out of the situation as fast as possible. Either you have your teammates or you smoke window and you take connector. If that's the plan, then you do it. But you don't want to be here unless you have a plan. Either go connector, jumping to window, or maybe you're going short. Um, I think um, this is maybe for the lower tiers, but um, you should try just to have a plan. And if there's a smoke that is soon to be dissipating, you want to take your whatever duel you want to take before that smoke disappears. These are like very small stuff, but I feel like they might help someone who's in the lower tier, who's ever watching this. All right. We will also talk about if you, for example, on deathmatch, you spawn an area like this. You spawn bench, for example. What I would say is that try to visualize yourself being in this position and then play the situation out. Like try to get as many kills as possible without dying. You're basically camping, but if you think about it, you're only camping to be as effective as possible. And if you're, let's say, a B player or a B rotation player, and you find yourself in this position, like you don't practice this as much. But if you spawn on deathmatch and you play this position and take duels from here, that's a great practice. Like you just visualize yourself being in the match. Okay, I spawned here, then I'll play this position as much as I can and move around. You can still move around. I'm not saying you should stand in the same spot. Just try to cover this entire site by yourself. This same applies to, let's say you spawn or you find yourself in connector. Now you take dual source short, you take duals here, you take dual source mid, underground, window, A site, and you just try to move around a lot and try to find all the duals you can take. You probably will, people will not like you doing this in deathmatch, but who are you practicing for, right? So you're practicing for yourself. So you should be selfish when you're practicing your skill. Um, because a lot of pros do this as well. Like they like to stand in this, part of the area, move around, come back, move around, and you will see me do it in a second. But it's essentially you shouldn't be thinking that what other people think about you. All right, let's move on to the deathmatch part. So when you go into, for example, when you go into deathmatch, um, you so what I'm gonna say to you is not about me giving the exact formula how you should do it. What I'm gonna give you is like just as direction or guidelines, basically. So that my webcam was not on. So basically, what I want you to think about is how you are taking the duels. So when you DM, now that we are here, um, you should think about how you aim and how you're taking your duels. So for me to say this is very vague, but that's exactly why I want it to be vague, because I want you to think about these stuff without, like, I'm just giving you guidelines. There's like no right or wrong. Like how you practice is just it's uh, it's different to everyone. But what I'm trying to initiate is for you just to start thinking about it, and then you make up your own mind, and then you take it from there. Um, there's no right or wrong, as I said before, but just start to think about how you're taking duels, and I promise you, like, you will not maybe perhaps find the exactly what I'm saying now immediately, but like you will see what I mean, and you will be more efficient when you're deathmatching. Like you will think about what you're actually practicing when you're playing deathmatch and not only running around. So now, for example, what I'm gonna show example of when I said when you spawn in this area, for example, that you should just play around the same area, and just to get that repetition in. Yeah, and if you notice, like how I'm running around, I'm literally keeping the crosshair. If someone comes into it, I don't have to adjust as much. Um, there's sometimes I'm not doing it correctly, and that's when I like try to adjust, and I remind myself to adjust because it's all about repetition and doing it consistently. You, it won't always happen immediately, but um, yeah, you will get it as long as you give yourself some criticism, like reminding yourself how to pick some certain angles, or how you should go wide, or sorry, how you should strafe, and having your pre-aim in a good position at all times. Um, yeah, I think just to summarize all of this is that um, try to find your own way of death matching or practicing, but try to have a plan in mind, or just you know to think about what you're practicing to make it more efficient. So you kind of have a goal when you're doing this, and you're not just playing deathmatch. Um, just to play. You can, of course, just do that just to play. It's all okay. You will be practicing. But if you want to be efficient, I think you can set some smaller goals every time you start the game. When you want to practice your aim or when you want to warm up. Yeah, like regarding warm up, when you warm up, you shouldn't have too many goals. You should just, try to get in the um, best possible mindset. So yeah, I'll thank you guys for listening in, watching the video. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.